The Perfect Marriage Shattered, My Journey Through Betrayal. Post by You divided by Thrower Husband Betrayed. I never thought I would be the kind of guy to post on Reddit about my personal life, let alone something as deeply painful and humiliating as infidelity. But here I am, typing out my story for strangers on the internet, hoping that sharing my experience will help me find some clarity. This is going to be long, so I appreciate anyone who sticks around to read it all. Maybe some of you can't help me make sense of everything. Part 1. The Early Days. My wife, Lauren, and I met in college. I was a junior majoring in business, and she was a freshman studying education. I'll never forget the first time I saw Harriet was at a campus event. She had this incredible smile that lit up the room, and her laughter was contagious. I was instantly drawn to her. We started talking, and it wasn't long before we were inseparable. We had that perfect relationship that people envy. We never fought, always had fun together, and genuinely enjoyed each other's company. We got married a few years after I graduated. I landed a decent job, and Lauren finished her degree. Our life together seemed like something out of a storybook. We bought a house in a nice neighborhood, got a dog, and talked about starting a family. I thought I had it all. Lauren was my best friend, my confidant, and the love of my life. I was so proud of our relationship and the life we had built together. Fast forward 10 years, and we had what I believed was still a strong marriage. We had two beautiful children, our son, Max, who was 8, and our daughter, Anna, who was 5. We had our challenges, like any couple, but nothing out of the ordinary. We were both busy with work, the kids, and life, but we always made time for each other, or at least, I thought we did. Looking back, there were small red flags that I ignored. Lauren started going out more often with her friends, attending girls' nights and work events. She was spending more time on her phone, laughing at messages and being secretive about who she was talking to. But I trusted her. After all, we had been together for so long, and she had never given me a reason to doubt her. I should have trusted my gut. Part 2. The Discovery. It was a Saturday afternoon when everything started to unravel. Lauren had taken the kids to her parents' house for the weekend, giving me some much-needed time to relax and catch up on some work. I was cleaning up around the house when I noticed her laptop sitting on the kitchen counter. I don't know what made me do it, but I opened it. I wasn't snooping, at least not intentionally, but something felt off. When I opened her laptop, it was already logged into her email. I hesitated, my heart pounding. I had no reason to think she was hiding anything, but curiosity got the better of me. I clicked on her inbox and scrolled through the emails. Most of it was typical work emails, newsletters, and correspondence with friends. But then I saw an email from someone I didn't recognize. The subject line simply read, "I miss you." My stomach dropped. I clicked on it, and what I saw confirmed my worst fears. The email was from a man named Mark. He wrote about how much he missed seeing her, how he couldn't stop thinking about their time together, and how he couldn't wait to see her again. My hands were shaking as I scrolled down, and there were more messages like this, dozens of them. They had been communicating for months. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I couldn't breathe. The woman I loved, the mother of my children, had been having an affair. I didn't know what to do. I sat there for what felt like hours, staring at the screen, rereading the emails over and over again. How could she do this to me, to our family? I was devastated. But I needed more proof before I confronted her, so I started digging. I checked her phone, which was synced with her laptop, and found text messages between her and Mark. They were explicit, talking about when they could meet up, how they missed each other, and how much fun they had the last time they were together. It felt like my entire world was crumbling around me. Part 3. The Confrontation. Lauren came home the next day with the kids. I was a mess, but I tried to hold it together for Max and Emma's sake. I didn't want them to see their dad falling apart. That night, after we put the kids to bed, I decided to confront her. I'll never forget the look on her face when I showed her the emails. She didn't deny it. She didn't even try to make an excuse. She just started crying. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I never meant for it to happen." She told me that she met Mark at work. He was a new employee at her school, and they had clicked right away. It started as a friendship, but over time, it became something more. She said she didn't plan on having an affair, but she felt neglected at home. I was always busy with work, and we didn't have as much time for each other anymore. Hearing her say that made me feel like I had failed as a husband. Was I really so blind to her needs? I loved her, but maybe I hadn't shown it enough. Still, nothing could justify what she did. I asked her how long it had been going on. She admitted that they had been seeing each other for nearly a year. A year. I couldn't believe it. For an entire year, she had been lying to me, sneaking around behind my back, and betraying our family. "I want it," she said through her tears. "I love you, and I don't want to lose you. Please, we can't fix this." I didn't know what to say. I was so hurt, so angry, but a part of me wanted to believe her. We had built a life together. We had children. Could we really just throw it all away? I told her I needed time to think. Part 4. The Aftermath. The next few weeks were hell. I felt like I was living in a nightmare. Lauren was doing everything she could to show me that she was sorry. She stopped talking to Mark, deleted his number, and even transferred to a different school to avoid him. She was going to therapy, and she begged me to go with her so we could work through this together. But I wasn't sure if I could ever trust her again. Every time I looked at her, all I could think about was the affair. The thought of her with another man made me sick to my stomach. I couldn't get the images out of my head. I kept asking myself the same questions over and over. Why wasn't I enough? What did he have that I didn't? How could she betray me like this? I was falling apart, and I didn't know how to stop it. One night, I was sitting in the living room, trying to distract myself with TV. When Lauren came in, she sat her down next to me and took my hand. "I know I hurt you," she said, "and I'll never forgive myself for what I did, but I love you, and I want to fix this. Please, let's go to therapy together. Let's fight for our marriage." Her words hit me hard. I could see the guilt and pain in her eyes, and part of me wanted to believe that we could fix things, but another part of me didn't know if I could ever forgive her. I told her I would go to therapy, but I wasn't making any promises. Part 5. Therapy and Recovery. We started seeing a marriage counselor, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Sitting in that room, talking about the affair, reliving the pain. It was brutal, but it also forced us to confront the issues in our marriage that we had been avoiding for years. The counselor helped us see that the affair was a symptom of a much deeper problem. We had both been neglecting our relationship. I had been so focused on work and providing for our family that I hadn't been emotionally present for Lauren, and she had been holding on to resentment, feeling unappreciated and unloved. But instead of communicating that to me, she turned to someone else for validation. It was hard to hear, but it made sense. The affair wasn't just about sex or excitement. It was about emotional needs that weren't being met in our marriage. That didn't make it any less painful. Though I still struggled with trust. I wanted to believe that Lauren was committed to making things right, but part of me was always on edge, wondering if she would cheat again. I became paranoid, checking her phone and her social media, looking for any sign that she was still talking to Mark or someone else. It was exhausting. The counselor told me that rebuilding trust takes time, and that it's normal to feel this way after such a betrayal. But she also said that if we wanted to move forward, I had to eventually let go of the need to constantly monitor Lauren's every move. Easier said than done. Part 6. A New Normal. It's been a year since I discovered the affair. Therapy has helped us a lot, but things are still not perfect. We're still working through our issues, and there are days when I wonder if I made the right decision by staying. There are moments when I feel like we're getting back to where we were before everything fell apart. We laugh together, we enjoy spending time with our kids, and there's a closeness that we haven't felt in years. But there are also moments when the pain of the betrayal hits me out of nowhere, and I question if I'll ever truly be able to forgive her. Lauren has been patient with me. She knows that I'm still hurting, and she's doing everything she can to show me that she's committed to making things work. She hasn't given me any reason to doubt her since the affair ended, but the fear of being hurt again is always in the back of my mind. Some days, I feel hopeful about the future. Other days, I feel like I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. But here's the thing, I still love her. Despite everything, I love her, and I think that's why I've stayed. I'm not ready to give up on our marriage just yet. Part 7. Moving forward. I don't know what the future holds for us. I'm still working through my feelings, and I know that healing from something like this takes time, but I'm committed to trying. I want to believe that we can get through this and come out stronger on the other side. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that marriage is hard. It's not the fairy tale that we all imagine it to be. It takes work, communication, and a lot of effort to keep the connection alive. And when that connection breaks, it takes even more work to repair it. For anyone reading this who's been through something similar, I want you to know that you're not alone. Infidelity is one of the most painful things you can experience, but it doesn't have to be the end of your marriage. It's okay to be angry, hurt, and confused. It's okay to take time to figure out what you want. And if you decide to stay and work things out, that's okay too. As for me, I'm still figuring it out, but for now, I'm choosing to fight for my marriage. I'm choosing to believe that we can rebuild what was broken, and maybe, just maybe, we'll come out of this stronger than before.